Syahrin. Assalamualaikum to Dr. Nasrullah binti Abdullah. Today, me and my group will present our project, which is the name is Sport Equipment Registration System. Our group members is Muhammad Syahrin, Muhammad Raid, and Muhammad Fariz Danial. Okay, next. For introduction, nowadays, the development of application system is increasing advanced in organization system. Because of that, lots of organization has developed system from manual to application system. Alongside the sports equipment registration system development, it is now easy for schools to record sports equipment in and out. Currently, there's also schools which still using the sport equipment record system manually with papers. Through the manual way, it can cause confusion for the recording. With this system, works can be done easy and systematic for recording works. Other than that, it also will make recording works easy. In fact, it will increase the effectiveness of organizational management. The amount of equipment is limited, so with the help of the system, the responsible person can easily detect any equipment which has been removed, been borrowed or not. With the sports equipment record system, also saves time and energy of the workers and users because they can know exactly which equipment that are still available. Next, with the system, it also easy for the users to make yearly reservations before they want to use it. Okay, next. This is our entity relational diagram, which has table customer, booking, booking equipment, equipment, supplier, and staff. Customer relate with booking, and booking relate with booking equipment and staff. Supplier relate with equipment, equipment relate with booking equipment. Next, business rules. Customer equipment. Each customer has booking one or many equipment. Each equipment has booking by one or many customer. Customer staff. Each customer has handled by one staff and easy staff handle and each staff handle one or many customer. It possible staff does not have any customer. Equipment staff. Each equipment is handled by one staff and each staff handle one or many equipment. It possible a staff does not have any handle equipment. Okay, next. Next is data dictionary. Customer. In this table, we have customer ID as premier key. Then we have customer name, customer phone number, and customer address. Next is booking equipment. In this table, we have booking ID and equipment ID as premier key and foreigner key. Next, next is equipment table. In this table, we have equipment ID as the premier key, supplier ID as the foreigner key, and then the attribute we have equipment name and equipment category. Next is staff table. In this table, we have staff ID as primary key and the attribute is staff name, staff phone number, and staff address. Next. In this table, which is booking table, we have booking ID as the primary key, customer ID and staff ID as foreigner key, and the attribute is booking date and booking time. In supplier table, we have supplier ID as the primary key and the attribute is supplier name, supplier phone number, supplier status, and supplier address. Next, create table. In create table booking, we use booking ID as integer not null, booking date not null, booking time number 62 not null, customer ID as integer not null, staff ID integer not null. Primary key is booking ID. Foreign key, customer ID, reference customer table, customer ID. Foreign key, staff ID, reference to staff table, staff ID. Okay, next. For create table equipment, we have equipment ID, equipment name, equipment category, supplier ID. Primary key is equipment ID. Foreign key is supplier ID, reference to supplier table, supplier ID. Okay, next. For booking equipment, we have booking ID and equipment ID. Primary key is booking ID and equipment ID. Foreign key, equipment ID. Reference to equipment table, which is equipment ID. Foreign key, we have booking ID. Reference to booking table and booking ID. Okay, next. Create table customer. We have customer ID set as integer, customer name varchar, customer phone number, customer address as varchar. Primary key is customer ID. Okay, next. Now is create table staff. Staff ID as integer, staff name varchar, staff phone number varchar, staff address varchar. Primary key is staff ID. Okay, next is Raid.
Okay, now I will present. In create table supplier, we have supplier ID, integer, not null. Supplier name, varchar2 in bracket 50, not null. Supplier phone number in bracket 20, not null. Supplier status, varchar2 in bracket 50, not null. Supplier address, varchar2 in bracket 100, not null. And primary key, supplier ID. Next, we have insert data for booking, and that's show that that show the output of insert of booking. Okay, next. Now we have insert data of equipment, and that's for output for equipment. Okay, next. And the third one, we have insert data of booking equipment, and that show the output of booking equipment. Okay, next. And we have and now we have insert of customer, and that for output for customer insert data. Okay, next. And now insert of staff, and that for output for insert of data of staff into staff. Okay, next. And we have insert data for supplier. Okay, next. Okay, now we have update data. Okay, for update stuff, we have set staff, address, and number 36 Jalan Teruna 10, Taman Bukit Rambai, and where staff ID 11111. For update supplier, we have set supplier name, Amir Aziz, supplier address number 7 Jalan Angkasa Nuri 43, Taman Angkasa Nuri, where supply ID 77777. Okay, next. We have update supplier. Okay, for update supplier, we have set supplier status berkahwin, where supplier ID 55555. For update supplier, we have set supplier status Bujang, where supplier ID 12121. Next. right now we have delete data. For delete equipment name, where equipment ID 66666. Delete from equipment, where equipment ID 12121. Okay, next. Delete from booking equipment, where booking ID 2468. Next, we have delete from equipment, where supplier ID 55555. Okay, next. And right now we have delete from staff, where staff ID 12121. And that show for output for delete from staff. Okay, right now I will pass to Syahrin.
Okay, thank you to all presenters. Now it's my turn. So now my turn is selection and projection. So first, to list the information for selection and projection, to list the information of all customer who has name Arif. Rational algebra is customer name Arif in bracket customer. SQL statement is select all from customer where customer name Arif. So beside is the result of the selection. Next, the question is to list the information of all staff who located at Taman Pelangi. So the SQL statement is select all from staff where staff address like Taman Pelangi. So also same. Beside is the output of the table. So third is the question is to list the information of all supplier who located at Taman Bunga Raya. So the SQL statement below consists of select supplier ID, supplier name, supplier status from supplier table where supplier status is changed to berkahwin. Next is to list the information of bola tennis from table equipment. So the SQL statement is select equipment ID, equipment name, equipment category from equipment table, where equipment category not like bola tennis. So as you can see below, there is the output of the table that we have been run. Okay, last is to list the information of all booking have been made at February. So the SQL statement select booking ID, booking date, booking time from booking table where booking date like 3. Okay, next we go through to aggregation and grouping. So first question of aggregation and grouping, retrieve the total number of customer. So the SQL statement should be select count in bracket customer ID from customer table. So next we go to retrieve the total number of booking. So the SQL statement should be select count in bracket booking ID from booking table. Count the number of supplier that are still single. So the SQL statement should be select count in bracket distinct supplier ID as supplier identification from supplier table where supplier status changed to bujang. So now is fourth question of aggregation and grouping. Display the details of equipment category and count the number of equipment identification. So the SQL statement should be select equipment category, count in bracket distinct equipment ID from equipment table, group by equipment category, order by equipment category. So this is the last question of aggregation and grouping. Display Display the detail of staff name which has one or more staff identification. So the SQL statement should be select staff name, count in bracket district, staff ID from staff table group by staff name, having count in bracket district, staff ID. So more or equal to 1, order by staff name. So as you can see below, this is the last table of the question aggregation and grouping. So we go through to inner and outer join. For the first question, who is the supplier who handled the equipment instead of supplier with supplier ID 1111 and 1? So the SQL statement should be run as select R supplier ID as supplier ID, supplier name, supplier phone number from equipment R supplier S, where R supplier ID 1111. So next question is list complete details of all supplier who have status berkahwin live in 24 Lorong 2 Taman Bunga Raya 75200 Melaka. So the SQL statement should be select supplier all from supplier join branch on supplier supplier status equal to branch supplier status where branch supplier address 24 Lorong 2 Taman Bunga Raya 75200 Melaka. So the third is who is the customer who booked the booking instead of customer, which customer ID 1111 and 1. So the SQL statement should be select as customer ID, customer name, customer phone number from booking arm customer as where customer ID 1111. So next, the fourth question, which is list the customer ID and booking ID of all customers who have made a booking. SQL statement should be run as select customer ID, customer name, customer phone number, customer ID, booking ID from customer and booking V, where C customer ID equal to V customer ID. So this is the last question of inner and outer join. Who is the supplier who handle the equipment instead of supplier with supplier ID 2222 and 2? So the SQL statement below should select our supplier ID S, supplier name, supplier phone number from equipment R, supplier S, whereas our supplier ID 2222 and 2. So now we have been to the last part of our presentation, which is conclusion. As a result of the project we have already created, we found that this project can help many parties, especially the management of sport tools either in schools or universities. With the availability of this system, it can help them overcome errors, example lack of sport tools, problems finding individuals who book sports tools, and save time and workforce. The shortest of this system is that the system may encounter some problems such as repeated data and errors if employees mistakenly enter data. The measure to prevent these shortcomings is that employees who operate the system need to be sensitive to avoid such deficiencies. So that's the last part of mine and of my group. So we hope you are enjoying our presentation and may be you useful to all of you. So thank you to Dr. Norsweliza for uh, teaching us along the 14 weeks. So that's all from our group. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.